Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. How's it going? To change the background music a bit. Nope. Okay, much better. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hi. Hello. Wow, I have people who know me. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me just quickly move a few things and move a few things around. Okay, cool. Yay, yes. Glad to make your acquaintance. And I'm glad you're here. Okay. So, hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I was just trying to see that I've everything set up properly and we can get started. Okay. Before we get started, here is the check-in link for you all to please check in. Meanwhile, let me quickly introduce myself for people who don't know me. Uh, my name is Utkarsh. I prefer to go by UT. I have been a coach at MLH for 2.5 years now. And this is what my 94th stream, like my 94th video out there. Let's see if I can make it 100 this year before the end of 2025, or let's say if it would be in the beginning of 2026. Really excited for the last couple of streams because I think this is going to be amazing in my opinion. uh, so this project is built out of a personal necessity. So I started looking at my own finances and I realized there is a lot of things that I don't track. And I was like, okay, let me start tracking it in Google Sheets. And it was fine, it was good. But then when I needed to make changes, when I needed to kind of, do some insights on my finances, I was stuck. I was like, wait, uh, I'll have to kind of download it as CSV, do some like Python magic to gain some insights and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can kind of build a very simple tracker for myself. Now, the one that I use personally is not as good as the one that we are going to build as part of these sessions. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that in these sessions, we'll build something that would be much more practical, much more usable. It will not have everything, it will not be a complete project. Oh, I will zoom in as I start coding, don't worry. So, to answer this question, I will zoom in as soon as I start coding. Uh, let's see. And also, I normally tend to go away from screen when I start developing so that you can focus solely on the screen and everything is much better visible. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so as I was saying, like this project was built out of necessity, would be more practical, but it would be not complete. What I'm trying to get at is uh, number one, some web part of it, and the part two would be the. Is this good enough? It is currently on volume 2. So for awkward silences that I would have, where I'm like, wait, what do I want to say? The music helps in the video. Okay, cool. So as I was saying that would not be complete. Majorly, what I want to focus on uh, is going to be on the web part of it. So how do you build it using React? That would be the first two sessions that we will do today. I have two sessions, as now you might understand. And the next two sessions, which are tomorrow, will be focused on the AI ML part of it, specifically with regards to TensorFlow JS. So, how do you kind of build using TensorFlow JS, building a model using TensorFlow JS, so that everything is on the UI side? Okay, so this project I'm going to, and like I wanted to ensure that it is completely UI side of it rather than any backend attached to it. Because if you talk about backend, then you have to ensure that it gets hosted, then you have to get access to databases, write code around getting data from databases if you're using databases for saving some data. And I think that's just a ton of hurdles. uh, and thankfully, like TensorFlow JS exists, so we can do most of it on the UI side. On the front end side, we can use indexed DB for database, which would be again on the UI side. So everything that we would do would be completely on the UI side of things, so that we can host it and you can share it with people. They can't see your data, but they can still use the website. Okay, so that I hope is good enough introduction. I do have a quick demo of what we are going to build because, well, of course, I prepared for this. It's not like I can whiz up code like magically. Uh, so let me quickly show you what it would look like. Now, please note that this is not real data. Okay, uh, so don't think that I have this much money or something. Okay, cool. So, what we are going to do slash build would look something like this at the end of the four sessions that we do. We will have a dashboard to build some like UI of, okay, what are my finances like? It will have multi currency support. So, pretty simple again. Then we'll have charting. And if you notice this logo and you recognize this logo, congratulations. If you don't, then it is Trading View. So Trading View has a charting library. It's called Lightweight Charts Trading View. Lightweight Charts. Yeah, Trading View. Yes. So this is Trading View. Which is a platform where you can do trades, and they have a really nice, like they have some really nice charts, and they have open source their charting library, the lightweight charts. They also have an advanced version, but that is paid. I had never used Trading View lightweight charts before this, so it was also a way to learn as part of building this project on how to use Trading View charts. What options does it give me? So I've currently created only two basic charts. Okay, like it's very 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 basic, but yeah, it was just a good learning experience. Okay, cool. So that is the first page, kind of the dashboard page. Then we'll have, of course, a table, because who doesn't love a table? We'll have a tabular format of all our data. So this is what we are going to build. Again, uh, all of it is mock data. Okay, which is what I'm pretty sure I am not getting like USD expenses freelance invoice of $450 anywhere from anywhere, unfortunately. And I do not have an account in Nationwide, which with income of 3,200. Wow, that's nice. Okay, cool. But we'll have a table. I did not use any library for the table, which now I think I should have, but it's okay. it's still a good opportunity to build something. And finally, an add transaction to add or like add an income or add an expense. The AI part would be to kind of fill the form for you, so we'll use the AI to do two bits in this whole project. One would be to kind of fill this form for us, so we'll just add a few like keywords, like let's say grocery shopping, and then it should, uh, based on my previous data, it should know that okay, majorly if I have done grocery shopping, I must have used like Tesco to shop, which is one of the shopping places to do grocery shopping. The category would be groceries. uh, I would have used my primary credit card for it, so that description kind of helps me fill this form. And yeah, so I guess that is it. uh, what is today, 13th? Yes, that is good. Cool. Okay, so this is a holistic overview of the project that we are going to build. Now, as I said, everything would be client side. So even the model is hosted on the client side. So in if you go into the application tab in IndexDB, this is where we store the data that you saw on the dashboard screen and the tab, like dashboard tab and transactions tab. And TensorFlow.js is where we are going to store the model. uh what happened to my model? Anyways, yeah. Okay, so this is where we'll store the model. uh One more thing that I'll do is currently this create model is based on these 93 transactions, but we can kind of improve on it, enhance on it, and I have created mock data of 13,000 transactions, which are in like CSV format. So we'll write some code to train our model based on those 13,000 transactions, and yeah, improve this model so that it suggests some better things. Okay, everything JavaScript. So let's answer a few questions. I see there were a lot of questions. Number one, let's start with this. I don't have any idea of React. I know Flutter. So should I skip this session or will it be beginner friendly? It will be slightly beginner friendly. Okay, so I'll say that my assumption here would be that you know programming. I can talk through any React aspect that comes in, but mostly it would be JavaScript. I can try and draw parallels between the languages that you know. Well, I don't know Flutter, frankly, not much. So I may not be able to draw parallels, but I'll try to explain as much as possible. Also, some of the styling and stuff that I have already done, I will just copy paste that. So we won't be writing styles from scratch, for example. So that is one of the things that you should know. Can we connect it to an Excel file or just use libraries for graphing? I am confused, but you can connect it to Google Sheets if you want. Google Sheets gives you APIs where you can take this data, put it on Sheets, and you can also pull it from Sheets, Google Sheets. So you don't really need to only keep it locally. You can kind of connect it to Google Sheets if you want. And for the charting, though, we will use like light view because I want to lightweight charts because I want to show you how it works. I think it's interesting. Which programming language? We'll be focusing mainly on JavaScript, but we'll type it, so we'll use TypeScript. Okay. Can we use C sharp? You can, but I don't know it. So I will be focusing mainly on uh, JavaScript, TypeScript, React, writing React code. Okay, so I guess uh, to set the expectations, you must know one programming language, JavaScript preferable. Uh, you must know some parts of web fundamentals so that you can follow along quickly. uh, and yeah, I guess that's majorly it. Okay. Where can we get the necessary resources to build with this session? So I prefer to always push my code on GitHub. So I will be sharing this in a bit, but everything that we build together will be pushed on GitHub. So you can find it from there. So don't worry too much about it. Can we vibe code? Does it really necessary to know TypeScript? Yes, you can vibe code. Of course you can vibe code. Uh, I guess I'm going to try and talk through what we are doing so that if, let's say, during vibe coding you come across some errors, it would be easier to debug them. I think I would suggest it to do the other way. Take the code and give it to whatever AI tools that you prefer to use. Like Copilot, for example, is my go to. Uh, Yeah, Copilot is my go-to. So you can take the code, give it to Copilot, and ask it like, okay, what does this mean? You can use Google Gemini, for example, to learn about it. You can give it instructions on what you want to build, but to learn how to code like in TypeScript, if you don't know it, I think it would be really nice to do it the other way around, where you give it code, ask it what it means, and then you get a better understanding of it. Can I use my own bank transactions from real time for this later on? Yes, for later on, yes, sure. Not right now. Please don't do that. Uh, JavaScript basics, TypeScript, React is some of the things that you should know. It is okay to kind of I would suggest like just stay around and follow along. It's okay to not understand everything because in today's day and age, you can really make use of AI tools, Gemini, Copilot, and so on and so forth. Example. So these are my preferred ones right now, and they can help you kind of learn about things. So it's okay if you stick around and learn from it. It's okay if you want to skip. Like there's no, of course, no one's forcing anyone here, but I think it's a good opportunity to learn. And to answer this question, can I skip two UI sessions and join from third? So the third one will also be on the front end. We'll still be using TypeScript for it, JavaScript for it. We'll use TensorFlow JS library. So Java, TensorFlow JavaScript. So this is what we are going to use when we do the ML bits. Okay. Cool. Think I have answered most of the questions. Now, before we get started, once again, please, like requesting you for one last time, please do check in for the session. The link is in the chat. And okay, one quick announcement with regards to the sessions themselves. So the sessions would be like I have two sessions back to back, 2 hours, and you definitely don't want to hear me talk for 2 hours. Also, you might need a quick break in between. So what we'll do is we'll do the first session, like we are already like 30 minutes in or 20 minutes in. So for next 1 hour, 40 minutes, we will work through the project, build the project, and then when it reaches like the end of this first session, we'll end the session. We'll take a quick 15-minute break, and then after 15 minutes, we'll join again to build further. Okay, I prefer to follow a checkpoint based approach, which means that like at some point I'm like, okay, this is perfect place to stop. I will stop right there and I'll push it to GitHub so that you can have the code if you have missed out on something, if you have not followed around on something. Towards the end of the sessions, like if I am not able to finish everything that I do in like next 4 sessions, like 2 sessions today, 2 sessions tomorrow, it is fine because I would request for like 2 additional sessions possibly, which would happen on either like mostly on Wednesday. Okay, so if I do request for additional sessions, they would be on Wednesday. uh, yeah, the timings would be disclosed. You can keep an eye on the ghw.mlh.io website for all the schedules and stuff. Okay, so yeah, I guess this is a very quick announcement of how we are going to do this. Any questions, anyone, before we go ahead? Hope you're excited to build this. Okay, I am. Especially like I had to uh, I am so confused. Like, was this an answer to I hope you're excited, or was this an answer to no questions? Okay. Uh, okay, cool. As I was saying that working with TradingView lightweight charts, I would have thought that it would be easy, but it wasn't. But whew, thank God. But when I got a hang of it through the like documentation, I think it's pretty good. Especially it's like pretty quick. I realized that it's like very quick charts. Okay, like in terms of performance. So I guess, hey, let's see how it goes. Cool. Uh, Also, we'll try and build based on the time permitting the income projected and expense projected using our past transactions. So 13,000 transactions would be on, like, let's say, of over a year. So over a year, assume that I did 13,000 transactions. So based on that data, can I project what my transactions would look like in 2026, for example? So that is also the something that I want to build, so that uh, yeah, based on my kind of habits over last 1 year, can I see where how much would I end up spending, and how much income would I end up generating in the next year? Okay, that would be a cool insight to have, so that based on that I can either try and increase my income, ask for bonus at work maybe, or reduce my expenses, which means no more outside coffee. Okay, okay, there is one question. Will we be writing code on VS Code? Yes, VS Code, my preferred code editor. Who doesn't love VS Code? Come on. Okay, cool. I guess that is it. Now, anytime I am away from screen, that means I'm looking at what I want to show you all next. Uh, okay, I guess this is the perfect time to start coding. So, step one. Uh, okay, let me keep this here, and let's. Step one is take a look at this GitHub repository. Here's the link in the chat. So this GitHub repository will be basically your main source of all the data, all the details that you will need as part of these sessions. Okay, so keep an eye. Now, if this is your first time working with GitHub, and it's completely fine if it is, uh, what you'll have to do. Number one, you have to fork this repository. So forking the repository means you are basically copying everything on your user. So this is my user. You, by clicking on this fork button, you are creating a copy of this for your user account. Okay, so if you create a copy of this on your user account, then it means that any code changes that you do locally, you can push to your user account code. Okay, so fork this repository. After you have done forking it, then what you need to do is go on this code button. It's green for me, it might be blue for you depending on what kind of theming you have. I have color blindness theming, so that is why it's green for me, I think. Like one of those things. Uh, okay, and you can then clone this repository. So you can copy this URL and you can go over to VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and you can kind of do git clone and then the repository name. Okay, that's what I have done before. So you can do that. Now, Git is a tool that you might need to install manually if you don't have it already. So two things that you have to have: VS Code, then Git, and thirdly, you would need Node.js installed. Okay. So these are three things that you need. You need Visual Studio Code, where we will be writing the code. It's the IDE. Then you need Git installed, which means that you could do the commands like git add, commit, git push, and Node.js, uh, which would basically be like, it is an executable or that allows you to run JavaScript outside of browser environment. Okay, so JavaScript initially was built specifically for browsers. uh, so anything that you want to write in JavaScript would only run in the browser. But thanks to Node.js, Randall, is that the name, if I'm not wrong? But someone basically created a version of Node, of like this. Think of it as browser, but runs locally on your machine in a way. Well, browser runs locally on your machine. Okay. JavaScript can run inside the browser. Someone took that concept and created Node.js so that you can run JavaScript on your machine outside of browser. So that is what Node.js is going to help us with, like for this whole project. So you need these three things. uh, okay, now there is a question just to confirm in session 4. No, 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 no. We will in session 1 and 2, I want to finish up most of the visual aspects of the project, and 3 and 4 would be focused on the AI ML bits. Yes, where we will first use like these 90 or 95 transactions that we have. uh, did I close it? Yeah, I think I closed it. Yeah, so the 90 to like what this is 95 93 transactions. So we'll use these 93 transactions to create a model which would be very basic, and then we'll use the CSV data that I was talking about of 13,000 transactions spread over 1 year's time. And we'll use that to kind of train a better model. Okay, cool. Let's get going. Perfect. So you have all the tools that you need. You have the repository. Now, I have cloned the repository locally on my machine. Now, let's go. Yes, you can use your bank transactions and train over an year, but what I would suggest is don't do it as part of the project right now. After the end of it, after you have seen what goes where, how it goes, then please add it. Okay, add it after. But yes, you can, of course. Can I post code on my GitHub account after writing the code on my side? Yes, you can. Of course, you can. Do not publish your transactions though on GitHub. Please don't do that. Uh, every project that I build, you can take that project, make slight improvements to it, do whatever you want with it, put it on your portfolio, put it on LinkedIn, put it on, I don't know, your projects, and yeah, do whatever you want with the projects that we build. Okay, it's completely open source, which means that if you make even slightest of changes and put it on your portfolio, I don't mind. Okay, you can say that it's your project with these changes, and yeah, showcase it to everyone, host it. uh, yeah, talk about it. Definitely do that. The part about the forking. Okay, so as I was saying, so if you have opened the URL which I had shared above, at some point, yeah, there we go. So I had shared it here. So if you have opened the URL, then after that, hopefully you have a GitHub account. Definitely have a GitHub account, because uh, you will need GitHub for this. So you log into your account and then open the URL, click on this fork button. It is not highlighted for me right now because, well, number one, I cannot fork my own project. I cannot create a copy of my own project. But supposing I go to incognito, I see that 12 people have already forked it. Okay, really? If I reload this, nice. So click on this fork button. This will ask you to first sign up on GitHub. Once you have signed up, and then what you need to do is, yeah, just ensure that you have forked it, which means you have created a copy of this on your on your GitHub account. Okay, after you have created a copy of it on your GitHub account, go to your forked version, click on this code button, and copy this URL and download it. Okay, so not download it directly, copy this URL, go to VS Code, and you can basically say clone. Okay, search for git clone example and give it some URL. So let's say if I do git clone from GitHub, yes, give it this URL. You can choose this, give it the URL, and then it will know, oh, this is what you want me to clone. So it will clone it or download it locally, basically. But don't give it my user, this one. Give it the one that you created on your user. Okay, so your user account. So example, I have one account called as UTK09. So I will give it this URL. If I have forked it on my version, give it this URL and clone this repository. Okay, so that's all about cloning. Perfect. So Command Shift P gives you, or Control Shift P if you're on Windows, gives you these options. Search for git clone. On this, I guess you need to have some sort of settings. Let's see. Do I have any extensions for this? I don't think so. Okay, cool. Should be built in. Uh, Try it out. Let me know. But what you can do is, if you are new to Git, then we have had sessions which talk in detail about Git and how to use Git, how to use VS Code with like Git and stuff. I think we used to call this as get together with get together with Git, or get together with Git, something along those lines. You can find all the videos of it on the Major League Hacking YouTube channel. And so if you go to the Major League Hacking YouTube channel, and let's say you search for, I don't want to sign in, Major League Hacking YouTube channel, go to the previous ones and search for Git or GitHub. So you can kind of go through like introduction to Git, how to use it, how to use yeah, how to use it locally, forking, and we talk about like there are people who talk about everything in this. We also have like, let's say, Copilot. So if you want to learn how to use Copilot, how to use the agent mode in GitHub Copilot, we have sessions on those as well. And of course, you can find this particular session that I'm currently running, uh, which is right here. Okay. So currently live and at some point it would be, what's the word? I forgot. Anyways, cool. Okay. And you're welcome. I'm glad it helped. Um, Okay. So since this is a UI project, it is a React project, I'm going to use one of the most popular uh, scaffolding application out there, which is Wheat.dev. So Wheat is the build tool. Okay. So we write code in React. Okay. So before we go there, as I promised, I'll make it some beginner friendly. So what is like what does it mean by building for the web? So web sites or like web browsers. Okay. Web browsers understand three types of uh, code files, I would say. Okay. So the first is a markup file, which is HTML, which is the skeleton. So all this text that you see that comes as part of the skeleton. Okay. Now, if I go over to a website and I block the CSS of that website, so if I take this, okay. So if I go to a website and if I remove all the styling, so example, I have this thing, uh, like this extension, Chrome extension, which allows me to kind of work through, like try out a few things. So if I go to a website and I go to like disable all the styles, what you see here is exactly what the user has built. Okay. Or the text that the user has written is this. So on this home page or v.dev/guide page, whatever you see as the text is what the user wrote. Okay, that's it. This is exactly what they have written. Everything else is about styling after that. So if I enable the styling, this is what it ends up looking like. So the step one is writing the HTML. That is what the browser understands. So if you right click, open inspect element, then all everything that you see in the elements tab, this is the HTML that is used to build this page. Okay. So the HTML is the markup. So class layout, class banner, I can kind of take hover over this icon and it is inside an image with class, and the source of this logo is slash logo.svg. There's no alt tag, there's data dash v, presume view. uh, okay, so this is what the HTML of this website looks like. Then comes the styling of it. Okay, so all the styling is written as part of CSS. Now there are multiple ways to write CSS, multiple frameworks exist. There are, I'd say, different, like you have your normal CSS files, you have modularized CSS, you have frameworks like CSS in JS, style components, uh, you have utility first CSS, which is like Tailwind example. So all these are different ways to write styling. But at the end of the day, what browser would understand is, have you assigned it a style? Okay, so example, there is a style for this banner which is all of these things. So whatever framework you use, at the end of the day, if it confirms to this uh, like thing that browser understands, this styling or this format that browser understands, it's fine. It doesn't matter how you write it. At the end of the day, it needs to compile or transpile or transform into something that the browser understands. So browser understands HTML, browser understands CSS, and third thing that browser understands is JavaScript. So what happens if I disable JavaScript on this page? Then, well, I is there anything that is more JavaScript on this page? Mm, none of these are JavaScript yet. Can I disable JavaScript here? Okay, so I've disabled JavaScript and it is not allowing me to click on this button because that button requires JavaScript. It's also not showing me details here because that requires JavaScript. If I enable JavaScript again, okay, do a quick reload, there we go. Now it allows me to click on this button and I also see all the details. So JavaScript that powers most of the things that are more clickable response, like not responsiveness. You can do that with CSS, but to make things click, to get data, to show the data, and to kind of do events, for example. Okay, events are like things like clicking on a button, writing inside an input box. Okay, I'm not allowed, like I'm clicking on this, but I'm not allowed to open and type inside it because that requires JavaScript in this example to kind of click into something and then allow typing there. Okay, uh, I can go to next pages. Well, thankfully they don't require JavaScript, but I still can't click here. I can click on this that doesn't require JavaScript. I can click on new issue. Okay, so few things require JavaScript, few things don't require JavaScript. Okay, so yeah, that is what the web is made up of: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You have images, you have like different image files and stuff, but at the end of the day, your browser needs to get these three kinds of files, and that is exactly what powers the web. So now I can go into the network tab. Okay, and disable cache, preserve log, right click, empty cache, and hard reload. The types of document that get downloaded from the network, they should be made up of three things. They would be like a document which would be like HTML. I should enable JavaScript. So I would have a HTML like document. So this is the exact HTML, which is what gets rendered on the screen. I would have CSS files. So styles, this is what parse everything nice that you see. And I should have JavaScript files, which parse most of like the interactions. Okay, so theming, some framework things, some, I don't know, something else. So these are all JavaScript files. Then you have like font files, image files, some media, like I don't know, some voice, some video or something. But majorly HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, these are three things that power the whole page. Now, I have repeated this so many times because what I wanted you to understand is where does Vite play a role in all of this. Now, previously, you could have a separate HTML file, a separate CSS file, a separate JavaScript file, and you wanted to like to build a page like this, you would have to write all three. Then came along React, and React was like, why do you want to focus on how how to build this? Focus on what to build. Focus on the visual aspects. Focus on like writing uh, your style and your interaction together, okay, and your skeleton together. So React along with JSX, hmm, React along with JSX kind of gave us a way to write your HTML, your CSS, and your JavaScript together in a single file. Now this is like, some people like it, some people don't. It's a way, it's a preference. I like it because, well, uh, that's what I do at work outside of uh, Major League Hacking. So I definitely like it. I love it. But yeah, people have different opinions on it. Now, the idea is like, why would you want to mix all of this together? Well, because now you have a single file which can kind of take care of it. Okay. So you know that, okay, I want to create a home page. So all the code that you need to write for the home page can be written in a single file. Nice, maybe not nice, maybe. React introduced this concept of components. I wouldn't say it introduced it, but it definitely tried to make it more popular by introducing this concept of components, where what if you build something once and use it multiple times? Example, a button. Now this get started button and this GitHub button, both of them are technically buttons with different styles. So if you build a button component, which is like a fully fledged uh, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript of a button in one file, then you can use it multiple times on your whole website. I'm pretty sure you would require buttons like n number of times. Okay. Well, without buttons, what is left in web? Like, look at this. I don't know, kind of icons, insignia, uh, like whatever you call it. All of these are exactly the same thing. The difference is that they hold a different image inside them, and they have different background on hover. So different background can be like, okay, I need to change the CSS if the user hovers on the insignia which has the React logo, and I need to change the background hover CSS when it has the Angular logo, when it has the Vite logo. But at the end of the day, this box itself can be a reusable component. Okay, so it needs to have a link. So let's see. So one box needs to have a link. It needs to have a class or and a style. So class is nothing but a way of giving it a name. Okay, so the class can also be used as a style. And yeah, that's it. So if I create a component which has this HTML, it also has this CSS which is dynamic, and on clicking it should do something like, let's say, some JavaScript of it. Then in that case, uh, I can reuse it, not just once, twice, or thrice, but maybe like 20 times. Okay, 20 times all over this whole website that I've built. Okay, there's another button. Okay, one button, two buttons, three buttons. So I could build the button component once, and I can change the text dynamically, and uh, change the links in a dynamic way and use it. Cool. So that is what React popularized. So where does Vite fit in all of it? So Vite is like, well, you can write your code in React, which means you write JSX code, which looks like HTML, feels like HTML, but it is not HTML. Uh, okay, it looks like HTML, but under the hood, it is transformed into JavaScript objects. So Read is like, you focus on writing the code in JavaScript format and using like React library, React framework. There's also this whole discussion about whether it's a library or if it's a framework, but you write it, and I will take care of changing it to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So Vite, that is why it's the build tool. It builds it or transpiles it into HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You write everything JavaScript. Vite helps you build that whole aspect of, the browser will need at least one HTML so that it can render the skeleton. It needs some CSS files so that it can style it, and it needs JavaScript files so that it can give you interactions. Okay. So I hope that makes the sense of like why Vite, why React, how web works, and this was helpful to people who are new to this. Uh, Sorry for taking time of folks who already knew this. As I say in all my sessions, even if you know all of it, if you think this is too slow, it is not helpful to you, please do stick around and help others who don't know it. Okay. Uh, I don't think that vibe coding can replace anything. All it does, it allows you to explore beyond what you know. Example, uh, let's say like today when the session started, a lot of you said that you don't know TypeScript. So vibe coding can help you learn TypeScript if you use it the right way. So I I don't agree with this sentence that it could ever replace everything. It will help you. It would be a tool in your arsenal. It would be a buddy, like as we say sometimes, like Copilot is one of your teammate. Okay, helping you build things if you use it the right way. Think of it as a pair programmer. So don't worry too much about like skill getting replaced or anything. Uh, Components are like widgets in Flutter. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, guess. Yeah, React affect the loading changes. So React, as we just saw, that it gets transformed into JavaScript under the hood, and this under the hood work gets done by Vite, for example. So end of the day, you get plain JavaScript. So I am a bit confused about this question. Uh, if I want to add 3D JSX, both CSS and HTML should be edited to get it right. If you are using React, then you only have to edit the JSX and the CSS to get like 3D. Hmm. Yeah, I got the JSX bit. Yeah, I guess. VFX again. Okay. Uh, yeah, definitely. It can help you make apps from a prompt. Like the next four sessions could be done with the prompt, but I guess it comes down to actually understanding what these things are. So now you know, like if someone asks you a question about why should we use wheat, then now you know why you should use it. uh, like why should you use wheat, what it gives you, the power, and then you can uh, kind of expand on it, right? Oh, this would become too uh, political for these sessions. So I'm going to refrain from answering all this exact questions. What I would say is, for the time being, or even I would say, let's see where it goes with respect to AI. But for the time being, we still need developers who understand, for example, the fundamentals, so that you can guide the AI in the right direction. Okay. So it's not about giving it a prompt and building everything from scratch, like bottom up. It's about when it makes a mistake, do you understand enough to guide it in the right direction? Example, let's say you tell it, yes, build a finance tracker, for example, and it starts building, it completes building, it builds it better than what I did. Yeah, completely possible. But when you have to give it your own transactions, do you understand the code when where you can give it your own transactions and it does that? like it works? Or do you know what you should tell the AI so that it takes your transactions, plugs it in the right place, and it works? Do you feel that you have written a prompt, or when it was building, you have guided your AI in such a way that it understands how to structure the whole code base so that you can share it with someone and they understand it completely? uh, and this requires you to actually know coding before you can vibe code the whole thing. Like example, can I vibe code a Flutter app? Maybe yes. I don't know anything about Flutter, but when it fails or it sends and like it gives me an error, and if I don't know anything about Flutter, I would fail to fix it quickly. I can keep on iterating and reiterating, no, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and some at some point it will work. But s- do I know enough Flutter to kind of structure it in a way that it is going to be extensible when new features have to be added? That's where you still need to learn all of this before you can just vibe code the whole thing. That's what I would say. It definitely helps you debug things. I'm not going to deny that. Okay, debugging things, it definitely helps you that. Learning new language, so I can vibe code or use AI tools to learn Flutter. Okay, by taking a Flutter project, giving it to these AI tools and asking it to explain it to me, what each of those things are, what these files represent. That ways, I guess it would make my life easier about learning it. Okay. So yeah, definitely a teammate definitely helps you debug. It's not 100% right always, doesn't really know most of the latest things sometimes, but that's all fine. That is all okay. If you know what in which direction you have to guide these tools. Okay, I hope that's done. That was my speech. Cool. Let me get back. So I'm going to use. I closed the Wheat. No, I have it open. Nice. So let's go to the Wheat website, and I am going to go right here. Going to copy paste this. I'm going to say this should be a React TypeScript template, and build this project in the current folder. So in the root of this. So npm create vchat latest in the current folder. That is why I'm putting a dot and dash 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 template, and it is a React TypeScript template. How do I know all of this? Well, it's actually in their documentation that, oh, do you need a React JavaScript or do you need a React TypeScript template? So this creates a template for you. Okay, which means that I don't have to build it up from scratch. Thanks to Wheat, I can kind of have initial files already built for me or created for me, and I just have to start editing them. And I hit enter on this. Now it asks me a few questions. Number one, current directory is not empty. Please choose how to proceed. Ignore the files and continue. Okay, so I'm going to use arrow keys and hit enter. Use roll down Wheat. Yes. So this is their new thing, roll down. Okay, install with npm and start now. Yes, and there we go. It has created something for me. Cool. So roll down. Okay, where does roll down sit? What is roll down? So previously, Wheat used to use something called as roll up, which was which is again internally a tool. So it's a tool which uses a tool which uses a tool to do something. Now in this case, the something bit was about adding uh like transpiling your code in a better format so that it is easily understandable by browser, and it also allows fast refresh and stuff like that. So that was roll up. Now Wheat has created roll down, which is the same thing but written in Rust. Okay, because that's faster. Oh yes, I will paste that, don't worry. There we go. So this is what you have to run in your terminal to kind of get all these files created for you. Now, it also starts this thing, like uh, hosts this or gives you a link to take a look at your website locally. So if I copy that and if I paste it here, this is what it has created. So this is what the Wheat project has created. Now let's take a look. So there is a HTML that is created, which has HTML, head tag, and body tag, and a div with ID equals to root. And inside that, there is a div with two A tags and links. There is a H1 tag for the title. There is a div with class card with button and a P tag, which is a paragraph tag, and there is a p tag again, and there is a script type module which doesn't highlight anything, but that's fine. Everything else is highlighted, this doesn't highlight anything. Okay, let's go and find this in the code. So if I go to this, I know that there needs to be a HTML file. Let's start with that. There's an index.html file, uh, which has a div id root, nothing inside here, and a script tag. So I see this bit, I see this bit, but everything in between doesn't exist. Interesting. What happens if I remove this bit? Okay. If I remove that line or comment it out, my whole website goes empty. Okay, so this definitely plays an important role. So what is this? So the next step is, it's I see that there is this script tag which says that go to source folder, and inside that go to this main.tsx file. Okay, let's go here. So source folder or src folder, inside that there is a main.tsx. Okay, I've reached there, and it says that, okay, it downloads a few things. So these are a few libraries, React and React DOM. These are two libraries. It imports index.css, which is the styling file, and it imports app.tsx, which is another TypeScript JSX file. And then it says create root document.get element by id root dot render, and this. Okay, so it says document. What is a document? So document in a browser, a document is the entire thing. Okay, this whole page is a document. So it's what this line of code says, that root document.get element by id root. So document.get element by id root means that try and go to the HTML and find an element where the id equals to root. So if I change this to GHW, well, now this will fail. Okay, this will fail because it's trying to get an element with the id of GHW. But if I go to my HTML and change this ID to GHW, this should pass because now it really knows where to get the ID from. But it's not styled properly now. Why is it not styled properly? Because I presume in index.css, there is styling which is specific to the root bits. Oh yeah, there we go. In app.css, actually. In app.css, there is this hashtag root which styles it with this format. So if I change this hashtag root to hashtag GHW, I should have the styles applied again correctly. Okay. So that's something, but it still doesn't answer the question of, okay, now we have found that there's this ID which you give in index.html. There's a script which tells you where to fetch the types, where to fetch the JavaScript from, but how does it build all of this? So that is where Wheat helps you, and that is where React works. Okay, so React says that you can write a you can write your HTML like code, look like code, inside a TSX or JSX file. Okay, so JSX is JavaScript extension, I think. uh, TSX is TypeScript, which means that it would also be typed. Okay, it will have types. JavaScript inherently doesn't have types, which means it doesn't understand what is a number, what is a string, what is boolean. It doesn't understand all of that. But TypeScript, which is kind of which encompasses JavaScript, it says that let me help you. Let me give you something called as types so that when you write your code, you don't make mistakes. So why would you do that? Example, let's say if you have your code which is like you create a variable and it starts as a number, and at some point uh, like if you have like 50 files and at some point you make it a string, then if you are writing JavaScript and you're not checking the type of that variable, it will be like, wait a minute, should I make it string? Sure, I can make it a string. And then when you build your project, you deploy it, someone types in a number and your project breaks. So you could have caught this while you were writing the code using TypeScript, where it says that this variable has to be of type number, for example. It cannot be a string. So that is what JS and TS, so JavaScript and TypeScript, that's what the difference would be. TypeScript at the end of the day gets kind of built and compiled into JavaScript. Okay, so it looks like JavaScript, it exactly works like JavaScript, but with additional safety while you're doing the coding locally. Okay, so it's a static type checker, it is not a runtime type checker. So what is a runtime type checker? What does that mean? What does the word runtime mean? So static means that while you're developing, when you're writing code, it can take a look at the type of the variable and tell you, or it will fail to build the project. But once you have successfully built the project, like you have built a form where the age is always, it accepts age as a number or a string, and someone somehow adds false there, which is not converted to a string, it is taken in as a boolean false. Okay, so in that case, your TypeScript will not help you, it will not give any errors or something. You have to handle that at the runtime part. Okay, so TypeScript does static type checking. So when you're developing it, it will help you. But once it is deployed out there in the world, it is hosted and some user makes some error where your code doesn't understand, oh, is age supposed to, like age was supposed to be a number. Somehow the user enters like Boolean value, and your code then doesn't understand, like during form submit, it fails to submit the form. So yeah, so TypeScript can't help you there, unfortunately. It can help you while you're developing, not when it's deployed. But there are other tools which can help you then. We will not talk about them though right now. So understand static type checking, dynamic type checking, or runtime type checking. So now in static type checking, that is why we are going to use TypeScript, so that while we are writing code, we don't forget, oh, what is the type of it or what is the type of that. We write correct code. Now, in app.tsx, so main.tsx, all it calls something strict mode, we'll talk about it later, but app. Okay, so it calls app, and inside app I see a few things. So there is this count and set count use state, ignore it, focus on the return bit. So in the return bits there is a div tag, which is a standard HTML like tag. There's a tag, there's another a tag, and there's a h1 tag, Vite plus React. So this h1 tag is inside this app.tsx, but I can see it on the HTML. So this is where Vite shines, and this is where like Vite and React together, like work together to give you a HTML output from your JavaScript file, okay, from your TSX or TypeScript or JavaScript file. So it takes this JavaScript, it kind of transpiles it, and it says, Let's break this file down into like three parts in a way. Like this is what needs to go in the HTML part. Then if there is any CSS, then it will be like, okay, this is what needs to go in the CSS bits. And for any interactions, like when I click on this count button, these count interactions should go in the JavaScript part. Now React says like JSX is always broken in JavaScript, like broken down into a JavaScript. So it doesn't really get broken into a HTML. It is still JavaScript, but it knows where to attach that JavaScript. Okay. So when the website loads, it loads the HTML with like this div ID equals to GHW. Then that's it. Then it reaches like website loading reaches this part, or the browser reaches this part, and it says, oh, I need to load this file, main.tsx file, goes there, follows it to open the app.tsx. It takes that JavaScript and it plugs it in here. Okay. At the exact point it needs to plug it in. And yeah, that's how we end up with the output that you see. Now, a way to take a look at what the outcome or the output would be if I kind of host this is by using a build command. So you can do npm run build. So the build command is going to create a dist folder. And as I was saying, it will have HTML file. Okay. And it has these asset files, which has CSS. So all the CSS that you have written in multiple files get combined into one. And it has this JavaScript file, which is really not understandable. Uh, and it is huge. I definitely did not write this much of JavaScript, but this is your React code and your written JavaScript code, all of it combined together. Okay. And it really is unreadable technically. Client internals do not use or warn users they cannot upgrade. This is coming from React. So this is React code and your own written code together in one file. Now I can host this dist file. Okay. So I will go to my terminal again, and in my package JSON, I think I have a preview. Yes. Let me run npm run preview. So what that does, it takes the dist file and it runs the dist file only. And this is what it would look like. Okay. Once again, no problems whatsoever. Uh, how can I prove that this is the build file? Because if I now go to index.html and I change this GHW to back to root, go to source main.tsx, change this to root. Okay, it still says GHW here because this is the built version, and it works same as before. So what it did was like, this is what normally gets hosted. So when you build it, Vite has helped you build out, like this is the HTML and these are the assets that you need. These assets are going to go and find, like, let's say GHW word in like in this JavaScript file. It should know somewhere that, okay, I need to go and get the element by ID GHW, and I need to add this at the position 0, this p.jsx. Okay, so what is this p.jsx? So even this would be defined somewhere. Read the docs, blah blah blah. uh, so this is our entire code. So our entire code actually is only in this much. Okay, everything that we have existing, everything before this is for React. Okay, this is internal to React. Like this is what React would do on your browser. So if you're building a page which is just this much, do not use React. Okay, because as you can see, use state, children, div blank, URL, all these are the code that we wrote. Everything else is just a library of React, which is like, I don't know, huge. Okay, cool. So that's the dist folder. So there's a quick question. What's the difference between npm run preview and npm run build? Npm run preview runs this dist folder which we have built using the npm run build. So if I delete this dist folder and I do npm run preview, okay, how did it run it? Yeah, not found. Fair enough. So it try when I go to that URL, now it says it cannot find this because, well, there is no dist folder. Okay, so dist is the build folder, which is where the wheat has done its magic. So when you do npm run build, it creates a dist folder or the build folder, which builds everything in your project. It takes this index html, takes your, like, there is a react.svg icon. It renames it to react dash some random hash dot svg. It takes combines your css. So there is an index.css, there's app.css. It combines them together in this index dash bn dash se dash 7.css. Okay, and it takes all the javascript that we have, which is in two files, main.tsx and app.tsx, combines them together in this index dash dqhk blah 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 dot js file. Okay, remember that this extension is js, so it is javascript at the end of the day. Okay, so it is javascript. So even if we are writing typescript or something, it ends up being javascript at the end of the day. Okay, so now if I do npm run preview, it takes this dist folder and it runs that on 4173. Oh, I messed up because I forgot that in app.css I have to change this GHW to root. Okay, so I have to build it again so that my dist folder gets updated, and then I can do preview. Now it should be centralized. Okay, and the npm run dev is a development environment. Okay, so it's a development, which means as you make changes on the fly, it will update. Okay, so if I do npm run dev, so it's a development version, so it doesn't create this dist folder, which means that if I go to 5173, okay, I should have exactly what I have locally, like what I'm developing locally. So if I go and make changes on the fly, example, if I remove these two things, they should get removed on the fly quickly. I don't have to reload the page. uh, I'll also delete these bits, and I'll make this a h1, and let's say that this is finance tracker. Okay, I don't need this. I don't, so, and these are all, like, these are errors now, well, because I'm not using them. I don't need this part. Okay, and this is what I end up with. So if I go here, finance tracker, that's all it will say. Before I push this code, I'm going to make a few changes. So number one, there are so many tools out there which help us do our coding more effectively. Now, the tools that exist like that are, number one, linting. Okay, so a linter tool, example, ESLint here. So there's this file ESLint. What it does, it tells you that, okay, you're writing code, but do you know what's the best practice? Like, do you know all the best practices that you should use about React? Uh, Should I warn you if you make a mistake? Should I tell you that, this thing that you're going to do right now might actually come back and bite you? So that is where a linter comes into picture. Okay, you can have a linter and build it in such a way that it takes in the best, like you can give it a list of all the best practices that you should know, you and your team should know. And when someone starts writing code, it can help them catch bugs early on. The second thing is uh, style, convention. Okay, so currently how many spaces do I have here? So I have, if I go by spaces, one space, two space, three space, four space. So I had four spaces. Okay, so I had four spaces, and I want everyone who's writing, like making a change in a .js file, should use four spaces. Okay, why? Because then it makes it easier for everyone to read the code. What if some users like to write the code in this format? Okay, like this is a single line file, but they have broken it into three lines. It increases the length of code and it doesn't add any value. So I want everyone to follow a certain convention to write the code so that anyone who reads the code, their IDE can prettify it in the same format. And that is the hint, prettier, to make sure that your files are arranged in certain convention, which makes it easier for you to read the file, okay, read the code. So linting is about following the best practices, giving it a list of tools, or giving it a list of rules, more like. Uh, okay, so if you give it a list of rules, then it will keep telling you, you gave me this rule and you are going against that rule. Like, please don't do that. So rules, that is where linter comes in, and a prettier or prettifying things, they come in to kind of ensure that everyone who uses this code follows the same way of arranging their code. Okay, so I am going to improve this ESLint config that I have here. Also, let me stop this and I will start this here. Oh, where am I? Okay. Also, we are going to use Node version 22.20.0 for this whole project, just by the way. Okay. Uh, cool. So I am going to improve this ESLint config. Now, this is a config that I normally go for always. uh, okay, not always, sometimes I actually override these configs. It's not a good idea, don't do that. But I'm going to copy paste everything, and don't worry, I'm going to push this. Actually, let me first push this bit. And okay, uh, oh, nice. Now this is what I like. This is where AI helps me. A simple finance tracker application built during the MLH AI ML week, not hackathon. uh, MLH GHW AIML week. Perfect. Okay, cool. So let me push all of this first on GitHub so that you have the exact things. Like this is the thing that was generated. Okay. So this is all generated code. I have not made any changes here. So I'm going to do git status. It has, like, it says that these are the files that are untracked and not changed. So I'm going to do git add all, which means add all of these changes. So if you see on VS Code, it moved from this changes to staged changes. Okay. Now, if I do a git status, it says that these are the files that are there, like they that you have added, but you have not, like, kind of committed them. Okay. So changes to be committed. So you have to commit them, which means you are saying, yep, I am happy with this. And please, this is session one, set up wheat project. And now I'm going to do git push to push this code on GitHub. So if I go to GitHub, that should have everything that we wrote right now, or every changes that we did right now. Okay, now I missed out on a few of the questions. So let me, I think I answered this, but I see there have been some really good chats going around. So thank you so much for helping with this. Okay. Uh, Now there's a question. I don't have eslint.config.ts. It should be eslint.config.js, and it should have been generated automatically when you ran the command, which was really, there we go, which was this. So when you ran this command, it should have generated it in your local. But if you don't have it, don't worry. I hope you have forked my project. I see there are 15 folks already. So if you have forked it, then you would get a button to sync fork. So you should see a button on your account of sync fork. So if you do that, you will get everything that I have pushed on your user, okay, for this project. So yeah, try that to get everything, and that ways you'll also get the eslint.config.js, and then you can do then locally. So once you make a fork, like once you have synced your fork by clicking on this sync fork button, once you have done that, then all you need to do is git pull origin, or just git pull. Okay, just do a git pull, then it should pull every change that you have done there locally. Okay, done there as in, like, every change that you have that exists on your GitHub will be downloaded locally. So step one, sync the fork. Step two, go to your local and type git pull, and that should kind of download everything that you have on your GitHub. What's the difference between git add dot and git add all? So git add dot means that add everything in the current folder. Okay, so the dot represents the current folder, which means that currently I'm at the root of this project, so it is fine. But if I cd into the src folder and I do a git add dot, it means that it will only add everything that changed in the src folder. Okay, not if I make a change in the public folder. A way to test it is I'm going to delete this v.svg, and I'm also going to go into the assets inside src, and I'm going to delete the react.svg. Okay, so I am inside the source folder and I do a git status. It says that these two files have been deleted. Okay, fine. Now if I do a git add dot and do a git status, it says that this change will be committed, but this change is still not tracked, it's not staged for commit. So now I have one thing in the stage, one thing in the changes. But if I do a git add dash dash all, so that should basically anywhere you are in your folders, okay, however nested you are, git add all will take every file and put it in the staged. So dot means everything in the current folder and the subfolders of the current folder. The dash dash all means wherever you are, just do everything. Now I am normally always on the I'm normally always on the root of my folders. So I do git add dot, okay, which means everything in the current folder and the subfolder, but like, to each their own. Uh, it's not a bad practice to do git add dot, by the way. It's okay. I hope that made sense of what git add dot does and what git add dash dash all does. Okay, as I was saying that I'm going to update the ESLint config based on the config that I generally use. So I am going to copy paste everything that I have. Also, I'm going to create a dot prettier rc file that will have some stuff there as well. Okay, so ESLint config.js, prettier rc, and I also need to update the package JSON, specifically the dev dependencies. So I am actually going to go to the package JSON and update the dev dependencies and this override at the same time. Okay, so these are the things that I have changed. I've changed the version numbers that was there for most of the things. Uh, I don't like to use this caret symbol. Okay, I absolutely hate it. 19.2.3, these are the versions that I'm going to use. Okay, so what is that caret symbol? In my previous videos, I have explained this in details, but this time I'll explain you with example. So if you go and search for Shahid npm, Shahid. Okay, so uh, at some point, some hackers gained access to some libraries. Okay, and they updated the library versions. So example, like these library versions were updated, uh, like, and there was some crypto related code added to those library versions. So far it's fine. Okay, it's not a problem that if someone adds it, uh I mean, if it's for a good reason, but this was not for a good reason. uh Okay, so it's bad. Someone kind of hacked into these npm libraries and updated it. Now, if on your side you have caret, or even if you have this tilde, what these two symbols mean in libraries is that every time there is a latest major version, for example, update my local library version. Every time there is a minor version change, I think this means, uh wait, this is, or this is minor and this is patch, but basically, uh I keep forgetting which one is which. I think major and minor, something like that. But what, the bottom line is, like, these two symbols, this caret symbol and this tilde or tilde symbol, what they tell your npm, okay, the, like the our package manager, they tell it that if there is a latest version available, please download it. It's good, but until the point someone is malicious and they actually have a version that has some issues. Okay, So your local will be updated to that version without you even asking for it, like without you even knowing it. You asked for it by adding this caret and you this tilde, but you didn't know when it would get updated. And you also, let's say you don't follow the blogs, uh, then you wouldn't know that, oh, there was this hacking attempt. So the way to avoid it is to always have exact versions that you are happy with. Okay. And that way it won't get automatically updated. It will only update when you manually go and update it. And when you go and update it, you can keep an eye on, oh, whether this has any consequences of updating. Okay. So yeah, that's about, like, that's why I don't like package versions which have caret and tilde. uh, I'm going to change the license of this to be MIT license. This is fine, and can add a description saying finance tracker or AI powered finance tracker. Cool. Uh, so these are a few things. Now, since I've made a change in the package JSON, I need to reinstall all the dependencies. Uh, because previously it had caret, I am going to delete my package lock.json and my node modules, and I'm going to do npm install. Oh, also version. I'm going to use the node version of 22.2.0. And now let me do npm install. It should create the node modules folder, and it should also recreate the package lock folder. That is nice. uh, all these versions are the ones that I changed and updated. Package lock would be massive, but that's fine. You don't really care about it. ESLint config, we changed that, and prettier RC, that's what we created. But we still don't have any script which tells it to format in a certain manner. Okay. So currently, my app main.tsx has these single quotes. I prefer double quotes. Uh, can we write something which tells it what to do? So there is a built-in lint command, like not built-in, a part of our uh, generated code was this lint command. So if I do npm run lint command, okay, this lint command, it tells me that these are the problems in your project right now. Okay. Replace this single quote react with double quotes react. Replace this single quote react dom with this. Replace this with this. Insert semicolon. So these are all the problems that are existing. Now I can go into each file and manually do it, or I can kind of have scripts that do it for me. So one of the, like some of these errors, as it says that there are 9 errors, 0 warnings, and they are potentially fixable if you do this dash dash fix. I'm like, let me add a command for it. Similarly, I can do a format, which will run prettier for me. Okay, so this one will run prettier, and it will write to the root folder. And I can combine both of them into a lint and format command, which will run npm run lint fix, which is this command, and it will also run npm run format, which is this command. Perfect. So now I can do npm run lint format. Okay, this is the new command that I have created, and I hit enter. So this will run eslint dot dash dash fix, and then it will run prettier dash dash write. It will make changes to a lot of files. As you can see, prettier made changes to tsconfig.json, readconfig.ts, and this is what we end up with. Okay, One last thing that I know I'll have to change is in the tsconfig.app.json. I need to change this include to have these three files, and in tsconfig.node.json should also already have this. And finally, if I go to settings ui.json, I think there is a eslint dot validate. Yep. Now, if I cannot find package eslint config prettier, really, really, let me reload all of it. Hopefully, then it can find the packages that it needs. Oh, finally, eslint is running. Takes some time, takes its own sweet time. Perfect. Okay, cool. So what I was trying to do is trying to run eslint. So when I do right click and there is a format document, or you can have a format document with, I wanted to set eslint as my default formatter. Okay, uh, out of habit. You don't have to do it, uh, but I prefer to do it. You can just focus on the command. Okay, you can just run the command after you're done coding, for example. All my files are on autosave true, which is why you don't see me do control S or command S every time. They always get autosaved. Okay. uh, Perfect. And now the things that I have removed, or slash the things that I want to remove, I'm going to remove everything in app.css. I'm going to remove everything in index.css. In index.css, what I want to add is some basic styling that are required for this project. So I'm going to go to index.css and change them. So this is a CSS reset. Okay. What this does is that it resets all the CSS to go to very basic. So as you can see, this is what I end up with CSS when I do CSS reset. All the styles are gone. I have kind of margin and padding set to zeros, box sizing border box. This allows me to calculate pixels based on the border of each box, because in CSS technically everything is a box. So you don't have to learn about this bit. uh, Think of it as some variables for our CSS. So all our files now, instead of writing this hex color again and again, they will use this primary color variable. Okay. So because of this primary color variable, if you tomorrow change this to be, let's say, pink for some reason, you don't have to change it at multiple places, because everywhere this variable is used will get changed. Okay, cool. So that is one thing. So index.css, app.css. Okay. So I want to introduce you to a new not a new CSS concept. This has been there, I think, since ages. I don't know when it was introduced, but there is this concept of module. Okay. Now, what is module? Or like, let's talk about CSS a quick bit first. Yeah. Wow. This is nearly the end of the session, and we have not started the project, but that's fine. I'm happy that I've answered most of your questions and you have learned something. Uh, okay, so CSS itself is all about like styles, right? Now, CSS is cascading style sheet, which means that if you write some CSS code, uh, example, like the best way to learn is to learn by examples. I know that there is this ID root. So to target a root element, I can do hashtag, which means it's an ID, and let me set the background color to aquamarine. So every like this is now aquamarine. So everything inside this has the background of aquamarine. But for this body, okay, now I go into my index, or actually right here, let me change the body to have the background color of light pink. So that means now I have the body color, and then we have the root color. Now the root is a specific color, but right after this, what if I change the root color to be light salmon? So my root color, I've set it to aquamarine, then I've set the body color to be light pink, and then I've set the root color to be light salmon. What's going to happen? It's going to take the latest color that you have given it, and it's going to apply that. So while it is going to download it, like download the colors, the last one will be applied, okay, depending on what you are telling it. So why does this matter? Okay, if I make this light sea green, at some point, yeah, it will be applied at light sea green. And if the loading is slow, okay, if the loading of the page is slow, user will see a flash of colors applied. They will first see this color applied and then this color applied in the background. Okay. So why does this happen? Because this is a cascading style sheet. Okay, so it cascades from the top, what you have defined at the top of the file, up to the bottom of the file. So if you have changed the colors for the same elements again, it will take the latest. The other thing that you need to know about CSS is that things are applied to like applied everywhere. Okay, what does that mean now? So if I control X all of this, I go to index.css, and right below all of this I apply this, and I say that the h1 will have the color of, let's say, dark olive green. Okay, uh, and this, let's make it gray, and actually let's make this a bit of blue so that it's easily visible. So I have said that the h1 should be blue. Now the style is defined in index.css, but it gets applied in to the element, the h1 element, in the app file, in the app.tsx file. Why? Because index.css is loaded at the root here in main.tsx. So this is the parent, and then you have the child app. And since you have, like, we have inside this app.css, we have not specified any style for the h1 tag, it will not get uh like it will take the root one. Okay, that is, this is still fine. uh Now if I have a h1 here as well, which says this is test, okay, so now both of them will have the same color. But what if I want the color of my h1 that I create in the app.tsx? So the this particular h1 should have the color scoped only to this file. So my I want my css files to be scoped only to the files that they are applied to. And that's where module comes in. So module is like, if you import me to a file, I'm only going to apply the changes to that file, not everything else, not everything in the world. So the easiest way to do it is change this app.css to actually right click, rename, and make this a module.css. So app.module.css. Now I can say that the h1 should have a background color of, let's say, light yellow. Okay, this hasn't changed because I need to go into my app.tsx and I need to import app.module.css. But just by doing this, does it apply? No. We import styles. So we import it like a JavaScript file. So we say that import styles from this particular file, this CSS file. And now I can go to my h1 and I will tell it that, hey, you have a special style dot h1, or let's say heading. So I'll take this heading, I'll go back here and I will say that this is dot heading. So now what this will ensure is, oh, it's a background color. I should actually change the text color. Okay, very bad color. Let me make it more red or orangish kind of, so that's visible. There we go. So now we are applying colors which are specific to a mod, like which are very specific to the file. Okay, multiple ways to do it. You could give it a special class name, but the hardest problem in one of the hardest problems in development is naming things. So you may run out of names to give, uh, which is where module css tells you that, hey, don't worry about the naming, give it the name that you understand, and I will make sure that in this file it is unique. Okay, so it adds some hashing. I called it heading, but it is named as underscore heading underscore cf069 underscore 1. Okay, I did not do this. This is the work of module css, telling it that I'll give it a unique name so that it colors only that particular part of the code. So this is about module CSS. Previously, you needed SAS to do it, or SCSS to do it, but now you can just do it using raw CSS. Isn't that great? Okay, so I think that's majorly all the changes. Oh, one last thing. Dot npm rc. Remember I said that I don't like caret or tilde in my code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a npm rc, which is npm root configuration, and I'm going to say that save exact equals to true. Okay, that always save exact version of the packages that you download. So these are all the changes that I've made. In index.css, we don't need these things. So I'm going to remove them. Okay. I need main.tsx. I don't need this h1. So that goes away. I can and styles is css modules, but I want the color to be, remember we created some variables. So let's go to our index.css. What kind of variables do we have? Primary color. Actually, I want it to be text color. Okay, so I can use that as a variable here. I can say that get the variable text dash color, and there we go. Here's the text dash color applied. So it goes and finds, and you can see that here in the code, it goes and finds this text color variable and it resolves it based on all the styles that you have given in that colon root. Okay, like these are all my variables, so apply these variables. Basically that's the idea. And yep, that's all of it. I think I've deleted a few files. uh I'm pretty sure there was a website to create your own logo. I think it's called. There we go. I am going to say that this would be nope, text and font color. Background color would be this, and it is rounded fine. I'm going to go for IBM Mono, and font size would be 80, and it would be light, not italic. Okay, perfect. And that's it. So let me quickly download it, but I don't know where it's going to download, so I'm going to take it away from the screen and ensure that it gets downloaded at the right place. So this is for our fav icons. uh okay, so I need to go here, here in public folder, and save. Perfect. So now there's a zip folder downloaded there, but it cannot be zipped, so let me unzip it quickly. And there we go. So all of our icons are here. Let me just move these out in the public folder, and I can delete this, and I can also delete this zip. Perfect. Okay, so this is the fav icon for our website. Okay, but I need to tell my index.html where to find the fav icon. So icon, and it is of type, I don't know what's the type of ICO. And it will be available on slash uh, favicon.ico. Yeah, there we go. So now we have our website has a fav icon. So why did I do that? It's just so that we have some icons slash logos for our website. Uh, and finally, let's, before I push all of this code, let me run a lint format. Done. And let me now push this code. I'm going to do git add dot, for example. That should move everything to staged. There's no other changes. Git commit and session one, uh, add icon cleanup code. That's what we have done. And git push. And the session one add icon cleanup code. You can go into commits to see what has changed. So this was my initial commit, which had just one line change. Then I had this session one setup feed project, which had all these changes. Then next one, session one add icon and cleanup code, I had these changes. Like these are the icons that I have added. These are like the changes that have, like, app.css was deleted, feed.svg was deleted. Perfect. And this is what we have ended up with. Perfect. So that is the end of session one. I know we have not started much, but that is okay because I have three more sessions and possibly two more after that. So If I'm not able to finish it in 4 sessions, I will finish it in 6 sessions. Don't worry too much about it. We will have a working example of what you saw on my screen when we started this, uh, by the end of 6 sessions, for example. Okay, now there is a question: how can we submit our projects? I am not sure what you're referring to with respect to submit. You don't have to submit my project unless there's a challenge associated with it. Do you know if there's a challenge associated with it? So you can basically go to ghw.mlh.io, go into challenges and see all the challenges that are for this. So copilot, emoji, agent, first component. I don't think there's a challenge associated with my sessions. So you don't have to submit it to anyone. This is for you, for your building, your knowledge, your projects. Okay. And finally, one last thing before we end this particular session. This was session one. So before we end this, can I please ask you all for feedback? So here's the link in the chat. It should be a quick 5-minute job. Uh, and what you have to do is basically go into it, tell, like, first choose which session was this. So this was finance tracker part 1. So choose that, give a rating of, did you, how, 1 is 1 star, 10 stars. So give a rating, tell me like what you liked, what you didn't like, how can I improve for this session. Okay, so please do provide feedback, helps me develop further. Okay, uh, so yeah, please take 5 minutes and do it. Now since we are at the end of session 1 and we have session 2 right after, what we are going to do is we are going to take 15 minutes break, and after 15 minutes we'll come back and do, like, continue building what we are building. And yeah, that's it actually. There is one question: I have a read folder and this folder, do I need to delete them? So if you notice that, like, this node modules folder was not pushed to github. Similarly, if I do a npm run build right now, it will create a dist folder, but even that will not be kind of counted by github because, yeah, they are part of git ignore. Okay, so in git ignore it is defined that don't push the dist folder. Okay, don't push the node modules folder. So even if you have it locally, it will not get pushed because git is going to ignore it. I And the .weed folder, I think that was created by mistake. Normally it is inside the node modules, so I don't think you need it. Okay, cool. So that's the end of session 1. Thank you so much everyone for joining. It is 13:05, which is 1:05 p.m. here in the UK, and 15 minutes after, so 1:20 is when I will join back. I will see you all then, and till then, if you have not if you don't have all the code, if you are confused things what to do, what not to do, you can go to this github and quickly get all the code and have it in your local fork this repository. 20 forks, nice. Thank you so much people that you're following along. 21, awesome. Oh, 1 star, ooh, thank you. This helps boost my ego. uh 1 star. uh, okay, anyways, cool. See you in 15 minutes. Bye bye.